What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw, yeah! And we're going back, with the old school Fantastic Four, issue 102. And this one, can they stand up to the super strength of Submariner? Yes, Namor is back and he's ready to kick some ass and take some names. And also, Magneto is guest starring. How's this truce going to shake out? How's this going to happen? And will this team up be a team up? Well, Ben's in it again. All that underwater sea adventure from the last time, being thrown over the docks and everything has gotten Ben sick. Basically, he has a flu, and Crystal is trying to open his mouth and trying to get a little medicine in there. But, this is a thing, and superpowers come for a super cold as he does a colossal achoo! Yes, and it takes apart the living room. And, of course, Human Torch is getting a little worried that he might take down the whole building with another sneeze. So they're hoping that medicine kicks in and kicks in quick. And of course, the Thing is in his own miserable world right now. And Crystal thinks that it's raining, so it must be some kind of omen. Meanwhile, Namor is basically patrolling the sea, doing what he usually does. And of course, he's kind of wishy-washy right now in the human race. He trusts them, he doesn't trust them, Basically, Atlantis is his own sovereign nation. And he ends up on the savage lands. He ends up chasing away a few pterodactyls, and he saves someone's life. And of course, it had to be Magneto. Now, I want you to pay close attention to Magneto's costume. Very unique. I actually never seen one like this. Of course, Submariner steps in, does his Imperial Rex thing, beats the crap out of them, and then rescues Magneto. Of course, Ben's not really having a good day. He's starting to shape up a little bit due to the medicine. And that's when Crystal asks about this little box that he has for Allison. And I don't want to spoil the surprise what it is, but as the Human Torch goes flying around on his patrol, a piece of a building literally flies off and after him. The torch, of course, ducks and dodges. He can't melt it, so he leads it into the ocean like a missile. Of course, the piece of the building actually dives into the ocean. And of course, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Meanwhile, Reed is working on a potion. It's actually a formula for Franklin. Very interesting. And of course, Ben actually envies that life. He wants a wife and kids. He wants a normal life, since he's always stuck as a Thing. But he doesn't have time to solve for too long because all these Magneto is pulling the strings, actually manipulating New York, using Namor's technology to enhance his magnetic powers. And of course, he's called in the conference room, and these guys have no idea what's going on. They just let him in the lab. Shame on them. Anyways, of course, these two guys have an ego problem. Magneto, of course, preaches that they're both outsiders, the mutants on one side, and, of course, Atlantis on the other. Neither are being treated good by the human race, so he proposes a team-up, a truce of sorts. And notice that Magneto has a gun. Why does Magneto need a gun? Just stating that. Anyways, of course, Reed is wondering what's going on, too. Of course, all these magnetic disturbances are actually coming from Atlantis. Reed decides to send a probe. Now, when Reed sends a probe, usually it's just to check things out, kind of give a whereabouts of what's going on and who, trying to trace it back. But, of course, they get attacked out of nowhere. This wiring just comes out of place. And this is Magneto's enhanced powers due to the Atlantean technology. Of course, Reed steps in. The wires start to wrap around him. And this is probably better for Reed since he can stretch his way out of this. And of course, this pisses Thing off. This pisses the Human Torch off as he uses his powers to kind of free Reed. And they're basically wondering what they're going to do next. And of course, I'm just throwing in these classic pieces of comic book history right here. Just for the people that used to see what a comic looked like back in the day. Anyways, Magneto uses his power again. This vacuum comes out of nowhere. It takes the Human Torch's powers. Of course, Crystal's elemental powers, which are interesting. I mean, she's able to do a lot of stuff with those powers. She's able to manipulate a lot of things, which makes Crystal a very useful member of the Fantastic Four, and probably my favorite Inhuman thus far. You know how I feel about the Inhumans. Anyways, of course, Reed gets free. They try to figure out what they're going to do. The probe actually explodes. And this is sort of Magneto's doing right here. He kind of put a little more mustard on it. And, of course, Ben is kind of goading it on, too. He pushed the button. Magneto enhanced it. And, of course, Atlantis takes a hit. Namor actually saves his people, and this is how strong the Submariner is. People don't realize how strong Namor is until you actually get in the ring with him. He can actually slug it out with Ben Grimm, so you know this man is not a slouch. Anyways, of course, they bring Magneto in. Magneto blames the surface world, and Namor at this point does not trust the surface world. He doesn't really trust Reed. Magneto says that he was in the lab tracing it back to the Fantastic Four. So, you know, since Namor and Reed do have a grudge against each other, he decides to declare war on them. Of course, a torpedo comes flying out of nowhere, thanks to Ben Grimm. You know, because Ben's on the other side wondering what the hell's going on. Namor actually stops the missile. It was supposed to be a warning, but, you know, that's not exactly Ben's style. And this is the opportunity that Magneto needs. Magneto is actually playing both sides of the middle. He actually doesn't care if Atlantis and the humans get destroyed as long as the mutants have a spot. So he's actually just playing both sides up the middle. This is kind of what Magneto does. And this is just a weird face for him. You think he'd be smiling at this point. Of course, Namor gets his troops together. Magneto actually says they should join up against them. But Namor always says that he's the one that gives commands. Like I said, clash of egos with these guys. But Magneto's getting what he wants at this point. The Submariner has declared war on America. He's declared war on the world, actually, the surface world. And, of course, you know, Ben's trying to apologize. You know, his temper got the best of him, but, you know, him and Namor also have a grudge, too. They've gotten into a lot of fights. And now it's time. Namor has declared war. And will they be able to get out of this? We'll find out the next time, won't we? And as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah.